Mystical, magical, that was what was on as I drove into Clarington and thought of the English kids I had when I lived life there. They weren't mine, but I was dating their dad and moved there for him and had them almost. Well, I can't complain, but honestly, it was such a gift. I was 23, I moved there, and I'm grateful their mom was as gracious as she was, because literally we stayed over there on Christmas Eve. Like, there were things that happened that most people wouldn't go for, and she allowed that for the sake of her children. So I just want to say hats off to the woman that I got to call an ex-wife as the geese take off in their migrations. I'm continuing on the 407 East, and as I saw the Clarington crest and I drove through there and the birds are flying overhead, I was thinking of Jacob, who was the beautiful young boy that I got to meet when he was 8, and his dad and I started dating. And I really want to just send love to him. And I don't speak of him because I don't want to be disrespectful to him, his mom, his sister, his dad, and his sister as well, Emily. Like, amazing. Thank you for all of the lessons, the experiences. Like, you didn't choose me, but your dad did for a while. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I got to enjoy connecting with each of you in your own ways. And I say this because I suspect maybe they'll see this message. Maybe they are already aware that I have a YouTube channel, or maybe they haven't given me a second thought. Their dad got married to a beautiful, lovely lady that was also part of the same community that I was, as to how we met in the first place. As I enter the village of Hampton, Clarington still. Old road, stop! Do not talk any more about all of what you are privy to, because it's not your place to tell the story. Girl, woman, mare. Mare is a way the French refer to the sea, and it is also how we refer to a female horse. Go figure. Figure it out. I wanted to just express the fact that in the real story of Rome, I'm going to take you back home to the origin story that corrupted our consciousness. And you might be surprised to know that the emperor who wears no clothes actually has greater relevance culturally to us all than what we might have given credit to before. So I'm going to take you back and show you how those 3 Roman calendars connect to the 7 kingdoms that preceded the establishment of Rome. And then I'm going to share with you how it is that the military-industrial complex, mic drop, that we have been dropping a need to be part of through the conversion of titles, statuses, and personages using the mnemonic tool of Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp's House of Being, also known as La Maison d'Eton in French, because that is the House of Being in French. And it's also where the House of Being makes us become defined by the thing that used to be a verb, but now the verb attached to this verb Liberty Street, is actually je suis, which means I am, which means then I am the thing that I was doing before. So, it's vital to understand how we become debtors in la maison d'etre of Dr. and Mrs. VD's house, because venereal disease ain't nothing you want anything to do with neither. VD, Dr. and Mrs. VD. But did you know that der means of? Der? That's actually connected to Captain Obvious. If you look it up, it's a funny little connection that makes you think, der. And so, moving beyond there, these are a whole lot of seemingly unrelated ideas until then related. And that's how we come into relations with one another, that we then call relationships, because now we need to put titles on the relations we have between one another until the ship decides what title it's going to assign the members of its crew and passengers. Because the captain gets to decide who is on which side of the deck based on their choices. Auxiliary verbiage is what is used in Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp's house to make I am verbs be the way that we have then become the verb that is attached to it, which is one of Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp's, like LA. Doctor is Evanier? I don't know. Darlington Clark. Clarky. Oh, amazing. Oh. I had a whole life in England I left behind. I sent love to Clarky and Elise and the whole crew. I even think of my ex's receptionist and secretary for a while, Dawn, who was just a really lovely lady, and interacting with my ex's 18 years younger girlfriend that had just moved over from Canada. That was starting to be an empowerment.
In 3 kilometers, take the exit toward Ontario 115 North.
In 3 kilometers, we're making a turn, which means that 3 has been the pattern that is being cleared. And this is where I want to introduce the concept, Village of Lescard, still in Clarington. I want to introduce the idea of Borromean ring relations. What is a Borromean ring relation? Well, it's a relationship that has 3 overlapping circles involved in the mix. And those 3 interlocking circles actually are not evenly connected. One is connecting the 2. So the 2 have to go through the other in order to get to each other or connect with each other. Their relations are dependent on the one they're connected to. Like my friend's bestie that stopped being my friend, so her bestie then stopped being my friend too, because
in 800 meters, take the exit toward Ontario 115 North.
That's like, how do you even make that up? That was Best Road. Are you kidding me? I was talking about besties, a Best Road goes by. How does it get much more magical than that when we pay attention? I'm not doing in here. I think I am.
Take the exit toward Ontario 115 North.
Yeah, I am. Okay, so taking an exit, and this goes back to in...
Continue on Ontario 115 North for 38 kilometers.
Shakespeare's play As You Like It, I believe it is called, where it says that the world is but a stage, and all men and women have our parts to play for a time. we all have our entrances and exits, which is what Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp's house help us become more mindful of how we do it in French. How we do it in French. La 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 la. Ooh. Yeah. So, that's exciting. We're gonna merge onto this new road. Millwrights is on my left. Martin's Millwrights specifically. Peterborough's in 43 kilometers from now. Clarendon Concessionate is where I go by now. It's time I find my middle ground. Common ground is what it's called. Lindsay's premier community. Fruski's Flower and Garden Center. Fru's my grandma's last name. Shout out to all of the Frus. There are quite a few. Apply yourself here, it's true you can relate if it's relevant. Everything is relative, we've been told. And yet, what does that mean if we haven't looked at it in relation to our relationships? I ask. Ooh, I like the gas is less than it was before, where it was 133.9 and now it's 129.9. Last night I had a chance to fill up that 120.9. Wilcox Road is there. Dawn Wilcox was the woman's name I referenced earlier. Shout out to you, Dawn. Yeah, it's been a few years. I came back from England October 15th, 2015. Yes, it's true. That was a few years and lifetimes ago. I've lived my fair share since then. Thermo King was there, it's true. I'm going to Petersboro. That's where the church's founded. The venue goes by Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp is when we see the I am that goes with the verb that makes us that. I am that I am, some will say. John Turner there says turn away from that concept of I am that I am. What does that mean? Boundary road, it means you've come to the edge of what you know, and then you took some guru's advice and became that you did. 50 kilometers over, city of Kawartha Lakes, population 73,000, it's true. I just had a few thoughts come through my head, Boundary Road, about family because of the names and the boundary of what some want you to share when you share your story. They only care how your story's gonna frame them in it, because that's where they're vested. The vests of Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp's house are reflective of our status, titles, personage, positions, ways that we relate. In Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp's house that has a triangle at the top, it is true it's the interlocking trust system of the ancestral lineal estate that is what avoids probate, where the pros bait us into the decedent line, forgetting we're descendants of our true clans and the ones we came from, which is why I started this video, because I'd seen the Clarington crest and what's best. Now I brought the Fru side in. I don't have their heraldry memorized as I do Hamilton's, because that's what I am. So I've been told my whole life, it's true, I am a Hamilton, and yes I am, and the Hamilton's name itself is what brought us under Noahide law. Noahidic law and rabbinic law, Porter Road and Bethany for Bethlehem is where the je suis without, and I was born in a manger because that was how manager sounded more right. Martin's Millwright is right here with Bethany. Porter Road because the ports are the portholes that open us up to new ways where we can be ourselves freely. We can't be that way if we are doing the see and do. I couldn't even set this up better if I had tried be. So let that be the way we have used our environment to play with the worlds around us. Elite is their danger due to the head wires that we get caught up in when we climb the matrix structure, which is a leadership structure of leadership hierarchies and positions of reporting cabin. On again, I didn't see it, so I can't repeat it. I can't repeat it, it's not mine, I'm just moving through. I don't even know where I am specifically on these lands, in this reality where I am playing Laura J. That's also the name I have came up with. It respects all of my names. I'm Laura Jean Ellen Hamilton, but Laura J's truly Canadian-esque. If we see, we try our best to be kind and sometimes apologize for everything. What do you think of my song? I wonder why you've hung along. It's been nearly 20 minutes. Welcome to Peterborough County. There's ease on that logo. That is cool. Father Goose is who my man's dad was. He passed in 2017, and they're working on a memorial sculpture. Jordy will be making it, and it's really cool. He's revising it now after all these years. was about to kick off, and I narrated Father Goose on Audible. If you wanted to listen to me read you Bill's words. There was a blackbird. That was cool. Hanging on a tree, sideways. We're going sideways. It's true. We can't help it. That's what happens when we gotta get out of the way of things. Crumble down like a house of cards. Will 88 Layla Jays. They're on their way to see the Jays. Hooray, hooray, the Blue Jays. And I knew the Laura J was significant. CJ Rock, oh my God, CJ. Laura J is on my way to Peterborough. I'm nearly there. Not really. I've still got a ways to go. Tap the quarter line roads, exit 33. Oh. Hey, Jacob and Emily. I hope you're doing really well. Victoria, too. Dawn, Elaine. Oh my God. Elise. I had so many friends. Zora, Maria, Ruth. Oh my God, Sarah. I had a lot of really beautiful people. Kimberly Lane. Oh my God. Wow. I am so grateful for these relations that I had the opportunity to form Fourth Line Theater when my life and identity was as a Canadian living in England. And when that chapter of my life closed and I came back and then I went through a few hard times, I stopped relating to that identity or chapter of my life as I did before. And then a different story emerged and defined me for a while until I got locked up under the Mental Health Act because of the call that changed it all. When I reported the system to the system, it said they're in on it, but there must be some good ones and I'm here to help bring change to this world. So take me to your leaders. There's a soul with a little blue jay on it. Right there, and it's a white soul too. So purity, not to say I'm pure by any means, but innocence is inner sense. So County Road 1010 was when I turned 38 yesterday, which was the same age that my mom was when both of her kids went to university and left home. She was an empty nester at 38 and had two 20 and 19-year-olds. I can't even imagine. Oh my God, she was 19 and 20 when she had my brother and I. How crazy is that? Camp Mart. That was a definite different trip than I took. And I was not easy because I had a lot of expectations that were not fair. So I apologized to my mom. I apologized to everyone that I need forgiveness with. More drive. Or the people I love need forgiveness with. Because I believe that the debts that we incur are the karma we incur between one another when we don't clear the shit. If we don't clear the decks, metaphorically speaking, if we don't get all of us out of this life, more drive, if we don't have more drive to extract more of our essence out of the past, out of paperwork, out of fixed things, then we won't let prefixes and suffixes define us and alter us as we have been in the way that we have been so unconsciously once we're conscious. So, the rain is starting to lift, and that's because the real shift is between allowing the monarch and arcana imperi to reign any longer than it has been, which is what we're shifting. When we actually break up with the idea of sovereignty and sovereign citizen being an oxymoron, just highlight that one as a don't use, do not consent to, as well as OPCA litigant, because organized pseudo-legal commercial argument litigant is not in your best interest. Shower Lagoon, wash that shit away from your ability to accept and condone without knowingly knowing that you are going to let someone else own you if you do. And I don't think you really want that. I don't want to be owned. Not interested. I am a free woman that can independently operate and govern myself without causing harm, loss, or fraud to anyone else. And I'm not partaking in the fraud neither. And I also suggest that we don't need to demonize one another, because I think that's just another part of the separation, the separatism movement, but on an internal level, on a deeper level. Port Hope. We could go off on 28. I had that nickname when I was dating the faculty, and one of his colleagues called me 28. I didn't realize what it meant until years later when he shared it. Maybe wasn't so flattering, not of me but of my mate at the time. But I didn't know, and so I didn't take offense to it when it was applied. I kind of thought it was cool, and then when I was in the mystery school that Elizabeth Clare Prophet formed with her man named Mark, Aeroflight training, 49 exit. So, I used to shout things out like this, or not shout them, but just share them as I am now. When I'd be with Jordy and he's like, please don't. Like, it is alarming. Are you talking about...
In 3 kilometers, take exit 51 for Sir Sanford Fleming Drive toward the Parkway.
Are you seeing something? Or are you just thinking something? Or where's that coming from? How are you tying in your environment, our environment, with what you're saying while I'm driving and like, oh my God, do I need to be attending to the alarm that has just went off or not? Our nervous systems get impacted. So I have pulled back in how much I do it, but I love that it's 1-1, which is New Beginnings, and Airport Road, which is takeoff, baby. Delta bingo and gaming, Euphoria Wellness Spa, you betcha. We are going to be euphoric in how we enjoy Bob Cajun Brewing Company, and I'm wearing my Bobcat shawl that Paula Lishman gave me for my 38th birthday, and I'm so grateful. Thank you, Paula. I am wearing this baby with pride. Art Gallery of Peterborough. Oh boy. All right. So much is happening. I'm going to get myself focused on what I need to be paying attention to, which is where I'm
In 800
going.
meters, take exit 51 for Sir Sanford Fleming Drive toward the Parkway.
And I'm gonna take this exit and send love your way. The deer sign there is about the Pathfinder. Find your path. Gnosis is what we take on if someone
Take exit 51.
We take on others' gnosis when we'll become the host for the ghosts' gnosis.
In 600 meters, continue straight onto the Parkway.
Remember, we are so close. Everything will be used in order to prevent us and get us confused. prevent us from getting it and keep us confused. But we can do better than that. Much love.